Hello, and welcome to This is War40k. I'm Simon, your host tonight, and tonight's stream is going to be about the Black Library. I've got some awesome guests that are joining us. They've been on the stream before, but I haven't seen them in ages, so I'm really excited. So without further ado, let's welcome them in, so I'm not sat here talking on my own. So you'll know him from the Nameless Guild. I call him their resident lore master, they call him the Oracle. But he's also quite the artist and a big collector of 40k. So please welcome SaoirseTheMan. Hey, Saoirse.
Hey, Simon. Hey, Simon. How you doing?
I'm great, mate. Thanks for joining me. Yeah,
my pleasure.
It's been weeks, mate. It's been weeks. I feel like it's been ages.
It has. It's been way too long. I'm so glad to be back with you on your streams. I can't wait to get back doing more Libraries of the Nameless with Louis back in the Nameless Guild. So it's just it's really exciting to be back at it.
Great. Well, thank you for joining me. So Black Library is going to be a good subject for you. I will be the noob entirely. I think we're having some technical difficulties with our other guest. I'm going to try and bring in our other guest. You'll know her from TikTok. She's the queen of 40k on TikTok. She's also a bit of a lore master, or budding lore master, if you will. Please welcome Mills, aka NotJainZar. Can you hear us? Oh no, we can hear you.
I can't hear you guys. I'm so sorry.
Oh no. Well, hang on. I'm going to talk on via text. So, please introduce yourself.
I'm Mills, also known as NotJainZar on Instagram and TikTok and on Twitter. I make videos. A lot of them tend to be kind of like more meme-ish stuff, and I do post some like work in progress stuff as well. So.
Well, thank you. I know you can't hear us, but we're saying thank you. Thank you. It never works smoothly. Technical difficulties. I imagine the world is on the internet on a Saturday night now.
Almost certainly. Well, we can try getting Mills out and back in and see if we can make that work.
Yeah, we'll get the servitors on that. I'm going to just quickly message and say try restarting. And I'm afraid we'll just have to carry on without her. Right,
we can start dipping in.
Yeah, we will, and hopefully she'll pop back in. Right, so the topic at hand: the Black Library.
The Black Library.
So, I've recently dived into the books, some of the books. I'm very new to it again. Diving back into 40k in 12 months ago. What I thought would help me, it's part of the fun bit for me collecting, was to get into the lore. And the Codex is a great way to start when you're learning about an army. But one thing I did feel I was lacking is that it doesn't teach you about the universe. I mean, 9th edition rulebook has got some fantastic stuff in there, but you want a bit more of the story. So I dived in and went, let's have a look. And that's when I got stumped, because there is so much content. We've 40 years of the hobby.
It's like when you turn on Netflix and you're like, I'll watch something.
Yeah, but then it's just too much. And they do have a get started section on Black Library. I do recommend it, but you can't judge a book by its cover.
No, you can't.
As true as that is. Let's see if Mills is back. Any better?
Can you hear us?
Yes,
finally.
Yeah, we're back.
Happy days. Happy days.
Oh my gosh.
But now I can
Happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy Saturday. Well, I'm glad you're both back on my channel. It has been too long. It's been ages. I think it was the Christmas stream last time you were both on.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, please don't tell me it's gone again.
Your sound is like kind of in and out. I'm trying to figure out.
Oh,
we can make this work.
Okay, let's fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Well, hopefully she can watch it back later and realize that I'm just very glad that she's back.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting started.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's funny what you say about don't judge a book by its cover, because judging a book by its cover would be incredibly difficult with Black Library, because 9 times out of 10 the covers are spectacular.
I can name a couple.
Warhammer has got to be the absolute crown jewel of epic science fantasy and science fiction and fantasy.
Bold statement, but I like it.
There is nothing more epic and badass and insanely cool about some of the stuff Warhammer Fantasy churn out on Warhammer Age of Sigmar now. It's just so strong and it's got so much kick to it. I'm really hoping Mills can hear me. Just no joy. You can?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's hope
in and
we
out.
can keep up. Yeah. Yeah. So Mills, myself and Simon's just we're talking about getting started Black Library. I was just talking about how pretty the covers are for a second.
Mm.
I suppose Mills, if you want to take it away with the getting started section for a bit, because I understand while you're a bit ahead of Simon, you're still quite new to Warhammer lore and books and everything.
Yeah, I've only been in the hobby since like the tail end of 7th edition.
Still one ahead from me.
I remember like my and like I'm very like open about sharing my story because I think it's really fun. My husband and I were dating, and we had been dating for about a year, and we were watching the movie Alien with like Sigourney Weaver and like the xenomorph and everything.
Classic.
And like the next day after watching the movie, my husband was like, okay, like I want to show you these models I have. And they were Tyranids and Gene Stealer cults. And I was like, hey, these are kind of cool. And then he showed me like all the different armies, and I saw the Eldar, and I was like, yes, that's the one for me. And so, yeah, so that's what got me like started into it. And my brain is not very well suited to maths. And so I'm like, playing the game is hard. Like playing the game was a little tricky for me at first. But it's been helpful to have like a supportive community, because they're like, oh yeah, just remember like these basic numbers, and then it'll get specific depending on the situation. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But I definitely feel more comfortable in reading like the stories and painting the models and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, it is. It's fantastic. And like, especially if you have difficulty with numbers, there's always helpful players to help you out with that kind of stuff. But I'd say the simplest tip, though, for getting started on reading the lore and getting started in Black Library is read about your favorite faction.
Yeah.
And that it makes it so much easier to get invested, because there are books about every single faction. I know, Simon, you were talking about reading the codices, and while it gives you a great taste of a faction, it also gives you a bit of a propagandized view of it.
Yes.
You know, it's like, oh, when I suppose no matter what you're reading, it propagandizes the Space Marines. But you know, it'd be like, oh, the Tau, they fought in this battle and they kicked ass on everybody and nobody could beat the Tau. But then the novels, especially say the Far Side novels, will give you a much more boots on the ground kind of real view of what's happening versus what's being told in the broader spectrum.
Yeah, definitely.
And you just, you know, there's the Path of the Eldar series, there's the Path of the Dark Eldar series, the War of the Beast, and some of the Orc books. There's not much in the way of novels for. We've lost Mills.
Yeah.
I'll push on for now. There's not much in the way of novels for Tyranids, unfortunately, but that's kind of the. Oh, Mills is back.
I'm back. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, and we can hear you.
But
okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, like Tyranids don't have the kind of character you read about. But yeah, it's like there's everything. There's something for everyone. So for anybody getting started in Black Library, just pick the coolest cover of the coolest faction. Make sure it's the first one in a series, because Black Library is full of trilogies and quadrilogies and two-parters.
That's a great point. There are lots of series.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Am I a toaster?
You sound like a Dalek.
Like it'll settle down in a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Oh. It's fine. I think it's okay now.
Is it better now?
It's better now. Yeah.
Yeah. I last stream they said I sounded like I was effing a toaster, as a vague AdMech reference there. So I started going beep bop beep bop. Yeah, cheap headset. Don't invest in them. No, good point you made about series, because there are a lot of series in the Black Library, which I found made it a little bit more complicated for me. So, Space Wolves fan, so I actually cheated and got an audio book, Saga of the Beast. Ragnar Blackmane, he's my, this is my wolf company. So that's where I started. But then this is a problem I had, is that is, like I said, it aggrandizes that faction. it is a one focused way of looking at it. I wanted to learn a bit more about the wider Imperium, so I went digging for books and dare I say stuff where it humanizes them a bit more, where the Space Marines are slightly fallible, but also the gruesome life it is to be a human mortal in the Imperium. I'm not going to collect Imperial Guard, probably unlikely. I'm not a big fan, but I still wanted to learn about a human in that space.
Yeah.
So enter Black Library, and like you said, it's a good idea to buy one that's the start of a series, certainly not one that's halfway through it. But when there's so many to choose from, some of them can be a big commitment. I find it can be a little bit overwhelming, is what I'd put it. And I'm glad that I've dived in on a few. Rule of cool, find a faction that you like, find a book related to it. I went very differently, admittedly. In fact, I've got them here. Where have I put them? So to move on from Space Wolves, I did Avenging Sun. That's the first one I read a couple of weeks back. This is a fantastic novel. There's so many character arcs. Sorry, I'll just realise I'm holding it up like you're sat in front of me.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So you get a real insight into the Imperium. It's very deep, winding story arcs that come back together, really rich. And then I followed it up with this, controversial, because I know some people aren't fans. Because I got back into 40k just at the end of 8th, Indomitus comes out for 9th. It's the bulk of my minis at the moment. I thought I want to read the story. Now, Avenging Sun is kind of like the prequel, although it's a different series, in like what leads to the start of the Crusade, whereas the Indomitus is from a different part of the Crusade, a different angle, actually in the middle of it in a way. I've got to say, Indomitus was not as good a read by a long stretch of Avenging Sun. I hate saying that because it's a really good book. I wish I'd started with it, because it's very much looking from the Space Marine, Ultramarines, and the Necrons perspective, and it's about their versions of a campaign. But the Avenging Sun is a proper novel, really got me in, all these different characters, lots of flashbacks. You invested in the people. You got to see what it was like from different people's positions in the human class order, where they are as a level of adept. From people that sleep on a bunk and work 18-hour shifts to the wealthy that just eat all this fresh food and have daylight. It's
only
maddening.
18 hours. Come on, this is the Imperium.
Yeah, well, but 18-hour shifts, but 5 hours sleep, and you lose half an hour for tardiness, or it's
true story.
So I do recommend both of them, but Avenging Sun, I've just pre-ordered the second one, comes out this month. Gate of Bones, I think it's called.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm not going to be able to talk about specific books like you did just there, because I could do a stream of that all on my own.
Yeah, no, don't. But I don't think that's the point, though. Is there's so many books. I think it's finding the lore you're interested in.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about the principle of humanizing Space Marines and all that kind of stuff is something I will talk about when we get our cue to talk about the Horus Heresy. Until then, let's keep it a bit more general. I did just notice Beanie's comment, the beard is in the house. Of course, the beard is in the house, my beauty. Always is for you.
I'm not on the chat.
Titanicus by Dan Amnick is very human view into the Mechanicus planetary defense force of a Forge world. I have actually, so I do personally know Beanie, and he's sung Titanicus's praises before. It's not what I managed to sink my teeth into.
I've just realised who's in the chat. Sorry to cut you off there, Saoirse. But it's Rin's third company who knows from last week what it's like that I've turned into AdMac again. So you
certainly has. Hello there, Ninufi.
Ninufi, hi.
Welcome to the stream.
Yeah, hosted by an AdMac apparently.
Oh yeah,
it's only fitting.
Yeah,
I am a little bit Asperger's, but I wouldn't say I'm robotic.
Mills, do you want to talk about some of the first books you read before I go on a tirade? Once I start, I'm going to go for a while, so I don't want to cut you off at the beginning.
Yeah, no worries. Well, the first book that I ever read from Warhammer ever was the Gathering Storm books, which were like the the Gathering Storm, but it was like the end of 7th edition. Fall of Cadia. It was hilarious because I had only been in the hobby for like a few weeks, and then Fall of Cadia came out. My husband,
So
boyfriend
Cadia
at the
meant nothing
time,
to you.
yeah, no, and I was just kind of like, oh, like they're these guardsmen and they're fighting this bad guy, and my husband was like, no, like Abaddon is like the bad guy right now, like he's terrible, and here's why. And so he would give me like little bits of background for like the named characters, like Abaddon. I think Scarbrand was in there, Celestine, obviously. Lord Castellan Creed, you know, like he told me about the Lord Castellan Creed, and then like you finish the series, and I'm like, no, like I got so attached.
Ursarkar Creed, the big boy of the Imperial Guard, and they off him at the end of the series.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! They
no, that's Gathering Stormlord. That's like 4 years old.
It's literally like 4 or 5 years old. It's like Lord Castellan Creed is like the biggest, baddest of them all, and he gets Pokemon'd, like literally like Trazen the Infinite's like, you're in my collection now. You're in my little Pokeball right here.
Everyone's pulling away, and Trazian is like, I could save him, and I will save him in my museum.
Yep.
What a lad.
I will save him, and I will keep him. He gave me very much collector vibes from the Thor movies, where he had like the collector. No, it was Guardians of the Galaxy, the guy that collected like all these different. I got that vibe off of Trazen the Infinite. Oh, it was like a tactical retreat. Yes, Ian.
Yeah. Trazen takes it to whole new levels. Like just, I mean, so even there's one bit, and I'm not going to go off on a tirade now because I know you're still talking. But I do. While we're talking about Trazen, he literally like ponders to himself while going about his museum and looking at his Imperium exhibit. He ponders, somewhere Horus's body is being idolized on an altar, and probably not very well. The Emperor too is just being kept up on his throne. God, I could do a much better job of restoration and preservation of both of them, though I doubt the humans would agree. The Transient is like, God, I want the Emperor. And the fact that Trazen only helped the Imperium at Cadia because he wanted Abaddon.
Yep.
What a
man. No, Trazen's an interesting one. Yeah, but so the first books that I read were The Gathering Storm, and then after that, I got into more of the Eldar side of things, and so I got the Path of the Eldar trilogy, and I finished the first book, and I'm about halfway through the second one. I'm a very, very slow reader, and it takes me a long time to get through.
Normally I am, but I've just churned through 2 in 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
But I haven't read. I don't think I read anything last year. I'm really invested, so that's impressive. I mean, I'm invested, I think, and now I've got to wait until the end of the month where I get 4 books. So, because I've got the Eisenhorn series coming.
Oh yeah, that's on my list. Eisenhorn, Ravener, Gaunt's Ghost are all on my list.
Yeah, and Gaunt's Ghost. Who's the guy in Gaunt's Ghost again? Sorry, Louis. Sorry,
I'm gonna have to ask Louis who it was in Gaunt's Ghost.
I did that to him on his stream. Fair play to him. I did that while he was talking to DZTV Chewy, and I brought it up because he called it Drop Zone TV instead of Deployment Zone TV. Bless him. But which I think he handled really well, and Chewy thought it was a laugh. Yeah, Rin, Ian, you've got it. Gaunt's Ghost. So I brought that up, and bless it. I felt really bad afterwards, actually, but he laughed. He mentioned it at the end and laughed. So
he's gonna want to laugh because I don't think he's ever going to live that down. Certainly not from me.
No, not from you.
Beanie can confirm. You do something once, I will remember it until the end of days.
Is he one of yours? Is he?
He is. He's one of my clade.
Wow, that's a bit. I didn't realize it could support that much text. But is it Ninofi? I don't know. I'm sorry.
I'm going to say Ninufi.
Ninufi.
I think Trazian is some of the most powerful beings in the whole universe in his collection. The guy is complete mad. He's a Giga Chad, is what he is. Ninufi.
Like, Giga Chad.
There is no
copyright, trademark.
Absolutely. Trazian the Giga Chad Infinite.
Giga Chad. Oh, quality.
Oh yeah, no, I like he does. He has Crorks. He has Eldar from the War in Heaven. He has Necron from the War in Heaven. He has like everything, entire warhouse, entire armies.
So what is that? The Gathering Storm books then to get into that lore, that story should I say?
With Cadia.
It's Cadia.
Mil,
Yeah.
Mills, that's your division.
Oh, well, yeah, so Gathering Storm, there was 3 books. There was Fall of Cadia, number 1. Number 2 was The Fracture of Baal-Tan, and then number 3 was Rise of the Primarchs. So you have the Blackstone Fortress that Abaddon just yeeted into Cadia and ruined everything.
Parry this, you
Depending on your
casual.
perspective, he ruined
He improved
everything.
everything.
He improved everything. I've gotten flack before of like making a joke on the meme of Magnus did nothing wrong, and people are like, well, that depends on your perspective. And I'm like, you're right, but I think he did a lot of things wrong, but that's
Magnus
just me.
did nothing wrong.
Perspective is a very powerful game changer.
Yeah. So yeah, Fall of Cadia, where Abaddon yeets the Blackstone Fortress into Cadia. It falls apart. It's very sad, and no one is over it. It's been 4 years, and nobody is over it.
No one is.
I
getting over it.
I still laugh about it, and it coos me to sleep every night just thinking of Cadia cracking open.
Yeah.
And all those guards have been dying. Oh,
heresy.
Heresy.
Yeah, and then
glad when Cadia
in fact, we have got a bit of Imperium, Chaos, Xenos going on with our little triangle here. If you were to,
I've just started collecting Sisters of Battle, but
Same.
I mean, 13 years of Dark Eldar, Chaos Demons, and Tau is not just going to wash off.
True. In fact, you two, Sisters of Battle, I could just get you set up and turn off and listen to you going on about that because you are both really, really into that faction.
Oh, yeah.
But to be fair, I don't blame you. The sculpt's coming out at the last. Well, it's been a few. I can't. What's the one that I thought came out at Christmas but only got announced at Christmas? The box
the
set.
Palatine?
Thank you.
Palatine, yeah.
I mean, even I'm like, maybe I'll sack off the stuff I was planning and just get that box set because that looks like it'd be fun, even if that's all I get.
Yeah,
let's not covet it.
Yeah, let's not get into that though, because let's keep on Black Library.
Well done, Saoirse. Well done.
One amazing thing I actually just thought of about Black Library and about Warhammer lore in general is that nobody knows it all. I mean, like I'm known as the Oracle in the guild because I know so much lore. But like I have an intimate knowledge of many aspects of the lore and an approximate knowledge of every aspect of the lore. Like I know what happens in all the Gathering Storm books. I haven't actually gotten around to reading all of them. And much the same, my friends have read the Titanicus books or the Priests, Lords and Gods of Mars books. My brother has read half the Horus Heresy series. I've read the other half. We've told each other about all of it. So, but it's the fact that you can spend 13 years reading the books and playing the games and watching lore videos, and still have to actually like say go to Mills and say, well, actually, you've actually read the book, so do you want to talk about it?
I'm just going to pick up on that. It's the conversation you can have, very human knowledge transfer experience, but you haven't got to have read it all to have an intelligent conversation. But if you because it is 40k universe or 30k, other people are obsessed with it like we are. People enjoy it, that they'll know different aspects, and then you can learn from them. So it brings a whole new level to your experience of reading from the Black Library.
Exactly. And I mean, the books are so well written. Sorry, the books are so well written and so universal. I found myself telling people about the books, but telling people who know nothing about Warhammer. I just turn to them and look, I know you don't know what I'm reading about, but you don't need any context to know why this scene is hilarious or why this scene is badass.
War is war, and some of the other deeper aspects they can get into.
Oh, the heartbreak. The heartbreak.
Well, end of Indomitus is actually quite a sad ending. I wouldn't say heartbreak, but definitely wasn't expecting that from a hobby-based novel. So well written.
I mean, some of the Horus Heresy books are actually gut-wrenchingly sad and tragic.
That is almost a good segue, but before we do Horus Heresy, I just want to take a quick moment, because we're about halfway through my usual slot, is that the three of us are helping out with a charity stream tomorrow, run by the Nameless Guild. So forgive me for cutting you off there.
Not at all. Not at all.
But for those that are watching, is if you want to see far more interesting chats and painting and content, tomorrow 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. GMT, the Nameless Guild, of which Saoirse and Mills are members of, is running a 12-hour live stream to raise money for Little Depeche. So please go watch it. I think there's about 9 different guests on throughout that live stream, maybe 10 actually. Which is incredibly impressive. So go follow the Nameless Guild. So I've got his, where is it? There you go. So it's on Instagram at @the_nameless_guild. Go follow him. You will see everybody on the chat. It's like an entire day of stuff, which I think is going to be amazing. We're really smashing the targets at the moment. We've gone from Louis just wanted to help out a little bit with a day or two of ventilation, which it sounds tragic to boil it down to such a simple amount to say Little Depeche can be on a ventilator for a day. Because it's been exceeded, there's a good chance that that stream is going to help contribute towards surgery that the 7-month-old baby needs. So that is impressive. Before the stream's even started, that's incredible. So
yeah.
Enough about that. I will bring it up again. I'm going to keep going on about it. Actually,
We'll
watch it.
We'll plug it again at the end. But yeah, all of you guys watching, just go and check it out. And like all three of us here will be joining Louis at some point or another during the day. I'm going to be getting home, jumping out of my work uniform, and hopping into the kitchen to do some painting. Like it's
well done. You've got work between now and that. Is it tomorrow day? Is it?
I'm working 12-hour shift tomorrow, so 7 to 7.
My god! Thank you so much for doing tonight as well as tomorrow. Is far more important.
Well, look, yeah, it's I mean, a lot of these streams we do for fun and entertainment and enjoyment, and as much as tomorrow will be fun for all of us and entertaining, hopefully for the audience, it is also for just such a brilliant cause to be able to contribute towards. So. Yeah.
It's an amazing that our little hobby can actually do some real human, real life good, other than just our mental health and our fun time. So that's awesome.
Exactly, it is a community. So actually, I have the perfect idea to segue into the Horus Heresy. Who's Gaunt? Read the Gaunt's Ghost series. The perfect idea to segue into Horus Heresy while also covering an amazing aspect of Black Library. And I'm really hoping that they'll like hire me as promotional things for this, because the Gucci Man, such as a certified good man.
That's really nice.
It's touching. No, that means a lot. That means a lot coming from you, Cookie Man. So the Black Library audio app and Black Library audio as a whole is mind blowing.
Is it?
So the Black Library audio app, it's just an app. You just download it. It's fine, but it allows you to buy and download every audiobook and audio drama in Black Library, and you can just play them through the app. Now, it doesn't with any like audiobook purchases you've done on the Black Library store. So if you're going to get the app, just do it all through that. But I mean, I was working 12-hour shifts in a COVID test center last week, which are very long, very slow days. Even with the focus in the with the focus that goes into it. So literally on the first day, I downloaded a 13-hour audio drama. I was just like, okay, I need some help with this. And I was like, it was Burdens of Loyalty, which is a Horus Heresy compilation, 13 hours. And I was just like, yes, please. And I spent literally a shift and a half just listening to Horus Heresy audio dramas. Audio books, rather, in that case. But then the audio dramas have music and sound effects and whole casts of actors. And that's not just for the Horus Heresy. The prophets of Wa is a gem. It's a 3-part audio drama about orcs. They're all orcs, and it's all orcish and orky things. The very beginning of the first book has the introduction is an orc speaking in orcish, and then the narrator or the announcer translating it, but still speaking in orcish English. So the orc would speak gibberish. So the orc would speak gibberish, and then the announcer would say, "Listen with your ears to me words, great greenies." And it's just amazing. I mean, like, never has there been a better insight into orcish, like, just behavior and attitude and everything internally, with runts and squigs and everything. I mean, even our phrase "be the bigger man." Two mechs are having an argument, and one of the mechs says, "Be the bigger mech," and he just replies, "I am the bigger mech." So. No. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Cookie Man. I recognize that tag anywhere. I know it's you, Evan. And Evan is actually a good friend of mine for many years who only got into Warhammer recently. And actually, a fun little tidbit. I only found out Evan was getting into Warhammer because he messaged me like, "Saoirse, I was watching Death of Hope," which is a Horus Heresy fan-made animation on YouTube. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it because it's beautiful. It's really cool. Mm-hmm. And I did voice one line in the first episode of Death of Hope, and I also voiced in the trailer a couple of lines for an Ultramarine. And Evan just messaged me like, "I was watching Death of Hope and I saw your name in the credits. Is that you?"
Wow.
And that was how I found out my friend of a couple of years was getting into Warhammer, which was touching and beautiful. Genuinely, people talk about Warhammer, and I'm just like, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Black Library Audio. Go for it, because it's so bad for your
absolute shill. But no, that sounds like a good review.
It's so easy to spend your money because you're just like, that'll be fun.
That would be my concern. Because, I've got my audiobooks that are Saga of the Beast, and I can't remember the other one. I was trying to look it up. I got on Apple Books via audio and written, and one of those is kind of audio drama. There's like 8 different people in the cast, and they put on the Nordic accents to do the Space Wars.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah,
I'm really gutted. And Saga of the Beast was still well done with music in the background. But I didn't realize that they have their own app, because I think the prices, again, this is a weird thing to say, were better on Black Library.
I think on the app the prices are the same as on Black Library.
Are you laughing at the chat there, Mills? Because this is British person 131.
It's definitely where did it go? I lost it. It's definitely not Louis.
No, it is Louis. British person 131 is Louis.
Is Louis, right?
It's definitely not Louis.
I was just reading it going,
Louis, Gaunt may be an easy name to forget, but he would literally said the words Gaunt's ghosts. There's no excuse.
Well, I hope you saw the plug, Louis, for the name.
Absolutely.
Also, he misspelled Gaunt in where he says it's definitely not Louis perpetuating
Gaunt.
But it's an easy name to forget, so why would he spell
You're
it
never living Gaunt down,
it's
Louis.
It's not that easy to forget, but okay.
But Horus Heresy, the binary succession. Oh, you're so right, Beanie. The binary succession isn't. For one, like the first 5, it's about the Mechanicum during the Horus Heresy. The first 5 minutes nearly made me cry.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, do you expect that from the Mechanicum? Do you expect that from the Robo Boys? I mean, oh my God, it's so sad during the Horus Heresy. Heartbreaking.
Sorry, yeah. Cool. He might not be on the stream, but he's here to derail it. Oh,
Dan Abbott himself will hunt you down.
Oh man.
Actually, yeah. Okay. I'm good. Beanie, you stop. You're gonna make me cry. So I'm going to just blather about the Horus Heresy for 5 minutes.
Go for it, Saoirse. It's what we're all here for. It's what British person 131 is here for.
That's literally why I joined the stream. Like Simon texted me and was like, "Hey, I'm doing a stream with Saoirse. Do you want to join?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, let's do it."
That's not how it went. It was like, "Do you want to join the stream?" She's like, "I don't know. I'm just back on social media." Saoirse's on it. Sure, I'll check my diary. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and Mills and I were just talking about the Horus Heresy series the other night.
Yeah, I had actually started reading Horus Rising, the very first book, a few weeks ago. I actually was reading it this morning. I finished chapter 5, so that's where we're at. No spoilers for me, but I finished chapter 5 and I was like, what the heck just happened?
Wow, did it leave you emotionally drained?
Like I really appreciate like just the sheer sense of irony that Dan Abnett just like throws into this book. Like I'm only 5 chapters into it, but it's just like so tangible that it's just like, it's so good. I love it.
In terms of heartbreak, I'd like to point out that Dan Abnett's card is the Righter of Wrongs.
Honestly, why is that not in some hermetically sealed case on the wall?
Because I was showing it to Mills on a video call the other night because I was showing off. I will talk about this actually later on when we're talking about Warhammer charity later because it's quite relevant. I think I talked about it a bit in the last stream. But the Horus Heresy, it's insanely huge. I mean, anybody I talked to about it, thought, "Oh, how many books are in that series?" And I'm like, 56, 57.
Whoa, is it really that kind of?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a series. I can't think what the word is.
It's an anthology.
It's a saga.
Thank you. It's a saga. Actually, I like that.
I think, I don't know if there's a more expansive, continuous series ever. Maybe there is, but
it's an intimidating thing to face. Going, I'm going to get into the series. Like, wow, I missed a lot.
It's insane. But I mean, one thing, and I've talked to people who aren't into Warhammer about this. I've talked to people who aren't into Warhammer about this. The best thing about the Horus Heresy is because you're looking at Warhammer, and Warhammer, it's so energetic, it's so epic, it's so amazing. But how do you keep people invested for that long? You're planning this out. How do you keep people in it? And it's one very simple word, and it's humanity.
I was going to say Lost, because that was the series that suckered you into watching the next one.
Humanity. But it's not even just the species humanity, it's a sense of humanity, because as Mills will be seeing now, especially they really hammered home in the first few Horus Heresy books, they write the Space Marines as people. Mm-hmm. Up until the Horus Heresy, all they were was righteous warrior monks. For the Emperor, die for the Emperor, no fear. Whereas the Horus Heresy, it's about learning about the Space Marine, as personalities, as emotions, what has meaning to them, what do they care about, what do they want, and especially in the Heresy, what do they feel? I mean, because we read the moment of treachery so many times over the books. It's just, because we get the bombing of Estevan 3, where loyalists, Emperor's Children, World Eaters, Death Guard, and Sons of Horus. They're not even technically loyalists at that point. They were deployed and they were bombed. They didn't get a choice. We get their reaction to it. We get the Thousand Sons reacting to the Space Wolves attacking them. We get the Ultramarines reacting to the Word Bearers on Calth. We get the Drop Site Massacre. And every single time it feels different. I mean, Armin can see the future. And the first Space Wolf he confronts, he sees himself killing the Space Wolf. And he hesitates because he sees the future of him killing another Marine, and the idea of a Marine killing a Marine is so horrifying to him that he stalls and he doesn't take the kill shot. On the flip side, we have an Ultramarine whose entire squad gets gunned down by Word Bearers, and he just roars, "You bastards!" before he goes down himself. There's anger, there's shock, there's sadness, there's heartbreak. The Horus Heresy is a tragedy, and it's
relived over and over again by the sounds of it,
all across the galaxy. and the Mechanicum turning on itself. It's about brothers versus brothers, cousins versus cousins. It's about an entire society turning on itself. And even then, with the Mechanicum and Terra, because what a lot of people don't realize is at this point, the Mechanicum and Terra, it was a symbiotic relationship. They were allies. The Mechanicum was a separate entity to the Imperium of Man. And with the fall of Mars and the political intrigue in binary secession, as mentioned by Beanie there, the political intrigue of loyalist Mechanicum trying to find their place in the Imperium of Man as essentially refugees. Like, there's endless diversity and versatility.
Oh,
features in their image of Space Marines. Wolves, I listened to the third, which is where you find out about what happens to the 13th Great Company. And let me tell
spoilers, or I'll never forgive you. No spoilers.
I won't tell you what happens. All I will tell you, it is hilarious. Honestly, I couldn't stop laughing.
I think I know the story, but I never read the book.
It's only a short story. It's like an hour and a half audio.
Yeah.
But also the Wolf King, which is dealing with the Space Wolves after a reshaping of their legion as they're confronted by the Alpha Legion and left for dead by the White Scars. And the amount of Primarch confrontations, Lehman Russ and Lehman Russ and Magnus, Lehman Russ and Alfarius, the Khan and Mortarion, Ferrus Manus and Fulgrim being the first. They fight twice. The second time is kind of a deal breaker. You know, we get Vulcan and Conrad Kurz. I think Stink on Esteban. It's just it's biblical. It's absolutely titanic. Ancient Relanor, I mean, like, what a guy. We get Saoirse Simeon on the Path of Heresy. I'm now book 40 2 years or so later. Exactly. I force feed them to Beanie. I mean, when I find somebody who I think will like Warhammer, I'm just like, well, somebody's getting indoctrinated. It's just, I mean, there's no stopping with, and like the Horus Heresy is good for, unless you really hate Space Marines, it's good for anyone.
Yeah. Well, if you really hate Space Marines, 40k is probably not for you anyway, even if you really hate them, because they are the iconography for the entire hobby, much as many people wouldn't like it to be. So it is obviously 30k. So for me, I think I need to invest in it because I want to know more about the Primarchs. Unless you're a Smurf fan, you don't have a current Primarch to enjoy on the side of the Imperium.
Yeah.
Although Blood Angels have got some incredible characters, but they're not their Primarch. So maybe it's worth going back to learn a bit more about that perspective. If you will, I'm still learning about the Imperium though and the way it works.
Yeah, but even if you're a Smurf fan, because you will never learn about a Space Marine. I mean, there are chapters now in 40k, but in 30k there were legions.
Yeah.
You will never Heresy. I was met on the Ultramarines. I was like, yeah, I got nothing against them. Their colors are cool. Captain Titus is a unit in the video game Space Marine. And you read No Fear. You're goddamn right, Beanie. But like you read about Ultramarines in the Horus Heresy, you can't help but love them. The Ultramarines are actually just one of the most badass legions, honestly.
Oh yeah. I'm a bigger fan now after reading that, even though I don't think the book was amazing compared to other books. I appreciate the chapter far more now, actually.
Oh yeah. The key, Mr. Runaway Train, is wipe all other knowledge from inside your brain and just live and breathe Warhammer. I mean, I almost got embarrassed, like just talking to someone over the last couple of weeks. I actually got embarrassed how many times I was talking about Warhammer. What are you doing? Painting Warhammer? What are you doing? Reading Warhammer? What are you up to? It's just playing a video game. Oh, what video game? Oh, Total Warhammer.
Warhammer.
Warhammer. drawing Warhammer. There's no stopping.
It's a fair question, Mr. Runaway Train. Is how do you keep track? Oh, well, I'm a book hoarder, although I'd say 60% of my library are textbooks. Essentially, I work in IT. I used to collect them because I like books. The other half are all fantasy, non-40k stuff. But so my advice is just keep your books, collect them.
Well, yeah, and like in terms of keeping score as well, it's actually, I don't know if you were here for the beginning of the stream, Mr. Runaway Train, but I'll reiterate what I said. Is one of the great things about there being more books than you can possibly read. All of your friends will read books that you won't, so you don't need to read half of them. You read one series of books, your friends will read the other. You tell each other about both of them. All of a sudden, you have all of the knowledge. Don't be sorry, it's okay. It's the nature of live streams, you know. Well, you'll be able to watch it back, Mr. Runaway Train,
yes,
on ThisIsWAR40k's YouTube channel and on your Twitch.
Yeah, it'll be on Twitch for a week, YouTube permanently, and I don't know what happens on Facebook. Does anybody still go on that channel?
Does anyone even use Facebook anymore?
Facebook is a pretty large Warhammer community. You know?
There is, and I don't invest enough time in there, admittedly, because we're all mostly know each other from Instagram, don't we? Which I think is a much happier, healthier culture, I think, between the two, from what I've heard.
I agree, yeah.
But I do stream there. We do have people watch from Facebook. I think we actually have nobody from Facebook watching at the moment. But I do get them there. And it's one of those, if it costs me nothing to stream there, why would I turn down access to, 500,000 people, or 500 million people who might one day stumble across the channel?
So Runaway Train is asking very interesting questions.
Mm-hmm.
Put that up in the check. Can we have a power rank for the absolute essential book?
That is a fantastic question. Before we answer that, go check out Mr. Runaway Train on Twitch. Great stream painting. I've joined before. Can we do that? Can you do a ranking? No,
you can't, because somebody's going to read the Path of the Dark Eldar books and love the Dark Eldar more than anything in the world and think these are the best books. Someone else is going to read I mean, honestly, if you ask me to get fully invested in 40k, reading some of the Horus Heresy is essential. But if you don't like Space Marines, or if you're not into that kind of thing, it's not going to matter to you. Warhammer is so subjective. You can love and hate so many different parts of it. I mean, I've never got more hate for anything than when I played Tau. So you can make an essential book list per person subjectively, but I don't think it's possible to make an overarching essential read, because it's there's just too much, and it's so amazingly versatile.
That's true, and you know what, Saoirse, I was actually talking about this with a friend of mine the other day. Is that it's not only subjective in what factions you prefer over others, but also like writing styles of authors. Like personally, okay, I've read the first it's Path of the Warrior by Gav Thorpe. I've read JainZar and A Sermon, all written by Gav Thorpe, and I loved them. But you can go on Twitter or Facebook or wherever and find people who like despise Gav Thorpe because of the way that he writes. And I think he's pretty cool, right? It's like, it's another thing that's subjective between readers, is like, you know, I love Dan Abnett. I love Gav Thorpe. The Primarch novels I've read so far, I've loved them. Like, I don't have a book that I've disliked yet. And maybe that's because I'm easy to please as a reader, because I'm like, I just want to read and have like self-made hallucinations in my brain, and that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the best bit about reading, isn't it? It's the self-made hallucinations. Otherwise, you watch a film and it's not as good.
Yeah, and I mean, even within one writer, it can be so like mixed up, because like Phil Kelly, would have been happy. Absolutely, Mr.
I think very happy.
Absolutely, Mills. Yeah,
actually, that makes me sad, because there are a lot more women in the hobby than actually get acknowledged. But but it's still very nice of you to say, and I think it's great that, because Mills knows far more than I do. So
yeah, it's you
I'm
know,
not
it's
going to argue with Mills.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, no,
In
exactly.
fact, and there was on the live stream for Christmas, I think there was a joke about you against Louis, and I said, oh, I'd definitely put my money on Mills.
Oh god, yeah.
So just remember that.
But
Oh man.
but in terms of writers, like I love Phil Kelly as a codex author. He writes one hell of a codex, and let me tell you, I don't know if I'll ever pick up another novel. No, I mean, no, that's a bit extreme. But
Wow.
the Far Side books were written by him, and the first one was amazing, and the second one was really cool, but a bit inconsistent. And I got a third into the third one, and it's just like some really blatant inconsistencies between books and within books. And it's like, Phil, I don't know how this happened. And I mean, it's really upsetting and really angry me because I love the Tau and I love Commander Farsight. But I mean, when billions become millions and they go back to billions, and when a single ship becomes an entire fleet, and when a conversation is repeated.
Oh, continuity errors. Or
yeah.
See, I hate that. When I see that in a film, it puts a bit of a dull tinge on the film.
And it's like, what, you know, it's like, are you seriously telling me that you have thousands of ships and two-thirds of your military force were on one vessel? And yeah, you know, it's just, and like Farsight and these three ethereals have the exact same conversation in book 2 and book 3. So Black Library is not infallible.
That is what you get for loving Tau.
The thing is with Black Library, because there's got to be scores of authors at this point, it's you do get inconsistencies in quality. So like pretty much all of the authors are very good at what they do, but some are better. And even then, some series, for all we know, with the Farsight series, Phil Kelly was on a really tight deadline, and it wasn't, you know, he didn't have the time to put that much love into them. I don't know why they ended up like that. But the Horus Heresy, every book is a labor of love, and nothing can go wrong unless it's about Space Wolves.
Wow, he's done it again. Mr. Runaway Train is the king of derailing, I think. That is a good,
ironically.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny, and I mean that in a really good way, Mr. Runaway Train. You know, I've spoken to you before. You got really apologetic for asking about female Space Marines on the stream, which we won't be going into again. I think we made it clear we're for it. He's phoned me right off. Sorry, Saoirse, but it's a good question. Perhaps a topic for another one, though.
It is. How do you feel about your approach, Laura? As far as I'm concerned,
so the 40. Yeah. Well, now would be a really good time because it's been almost exactly 30 minutes to talk about the stream that we're all doing tomorrow. I know I've done it once before, but there's some new people. So for those of you who have just joined, tomorrow, the Nameless Guild is running a 12-hour live stream for charity to raise money for Little Depeche. We all three of us are going to be guests at some point during the day. There are 9 or 10 people joining. There's going to be chat, painting, all sorts of stuff's going to be covered in the day. I'm so excited that my entire Sunday is filled with background entertainment, because I always watch all the streams that you guys are on anyway, but now I know that I can get my painting done and I need the motivation, but also I've got to remember to turn up on time and be on it, because I've never had to be a guest. But yeah, Lil Depeche is a 7-month-old boy, a Nepalese boy who's been through a hell of a lot very recently, more than the average adult's been through in their entire life. And what started off as a small wish from the Nameless Guild, from Louis, to raise a bit of money to help his parents ease the pressure of the medical bills, due to overwhelming support, is starting to look like a real impact is going to be made by that contribution. And I'm sure you guys agree with me that all we're really having to do is enjoy our hobby, and we've helped contribute to this. So it's fantastic to be a part of. So please go watch go follow the Nameless Guild on Instagram. It's at @the_nameless_guild. Keep an eye out of that. It's 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. GMT. So please work out the hours. You've got all day. Try and watch all day. Try and watch a bit. It's up to you. And if you can spare a little change, there's a GoFundMe page set up for Little Depeche. Please, please, please share if you can. And come see us. It'll be great. Ask questions, join in the chat. We, come and derail someone else's chat, Mr. Runaway
Exactly.
Train.
I'll be there from 8 to 9 if any of my friends want to come on and harass me live on the internet. They do enjoy that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep. This is a good idea. What time are you on, Saoirse? Tell everybody.
I am on from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I'm on the very last hour. I'll be coming into... I'll be coming in to steal the spotlight from Louis at the last minute.
Yeah, it's the home straight. And Mills, what time are you on?
I'll be on right before Saoirse, which is 7 to 8 Greenwich time, which I believe is like 11 to noon Pacific. I should probably figure that out.
11 hours before for you. 11 hours before.
We're 8 hours behind Greenwich.
Apologies, you are 8 hours behind.
We're 8 hours behind, yes. Yeah, so
I'm thinking of Daniel in Australia is 11 hours ahead, and I'm doing 11 a.m. So we can all tell Louis who the favourites are. I know I volunteered for that slot. That's entirely me. I can't say that.
Mills was on the 8 to 9, and I messaged Louis like, "Hey Louis, I'm working all day. If I'm not on 8 to 9, I'm not on at all." So Louis moves a bit.
I was like bumper.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
no, that was
any stream.
Yeah, that was really funny because Louis did message me and he was like, "Hey, so like I know that you signed up for the last slot, but like Saoirse's working and all that stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Saoirse's just like stealing my spotlight. It's fine."
Well, tough act to follow. That's tough act to follow. You just make it really awful.
Honestly, I'm gonna have a really high bar to meet, like following up just after Mills.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Look, just watch me at 11 a.m. You won't even want to turn up, guys. It's going to be awesome.
Most certainly.
You're going to see why I don't show anybody my models. That's why I don't post about them. Well, this guy can't paint.
Hey, look, none of us really can. Actually, my friend Beanie puts me to shame. He's only been at this 2 years, and he's an absolutely spectacular painter. Right down to the fact that he doesn't do it half as much as he should, which I think is kind of a staple of all of us Warhammer. Warhammer players. Like, God, I should really be painting my minis.
The only saving grace I've got is there's no one to play, so there's no 10 points to lose by not having a painted army.
Well, exactly. Right. I'm like, if I had a tournament or two, I could definitely motivate myself to finish my Battle Sisters, but I don't, so I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so wow, we've flown through that hour, haven't we? See, this is what happens when you get Saoirse on, isn't it? It's fantastic, and I mean that's a compliment. I truly do.
Oh, I could do. I think the next time we pick a charity and I have a day off, what I'll do is I'll do a 12-hour talking about Warhammer lore live stream.
Yes, I will watch that.
We will theme it as indoctrinating your friends. And I say the local Warhammer gaming community in Limerick still has a group chat for the guys who I've been playing Warhammer with for years, but a second group chat and sub community has spawned purely of the people I've gotten into the game in the last 3 years. So it's
guru.
It's just all of my friends that I'm like, "Hey buddy, want some Warhammer?" So yeah,
like creepily opening your trench coat and there's a slew of models and stuff.
Yeah,
you want some Warhammer?
I have that video.
Warhammer
kids. I've got that.
Hey kids, want some Warhammer? So
it's been confirmed he stole it. So
there we go. I am a thief, much like Trazian. I poke him on your slot, and I'm keeping it for myself. I'm a bona fide Watercast delegate, Ian. I am.
Ian.
Yeah, actually, essential Runaway Train. Yes, one essential piece of Black Library writing. Absolutely. No matter who you are, what age you are, where you're from, or who you like, listen to the infinite and the divine. It is the best 13 and a half hours of your life you will ever spend. I don't know if they've released it in print yet, but the audiobook, the voice acting, the performance is just amazing. I actually cannot emphasize enough how many times I absolutely cracked up laughing and like my jaw was hanging in awe at the absolute size of Trazyn. It's mind blowing. It's like there's nothing that I've read in Warhammer is remotely like the Infinite and the Divine. It's yeah. I cannot talk
hell of a
enough about it.
recommendation. Mills,
Absolutely.
can you make a recommendation? It doesn't have to be quite so compelling, but
I was going to say I'm not as good with words as Saoirse is, but
I don't think anybody is.
I will say of the Black Library novels I have read so far,
Play it safe, I would.
I like personally, I loved the Asserman and JainZar novels. You can read them like one after the other, and it like kind of blends well. Like the way that Gav Thorpe has set up that series, I thought was brilliant.
I do want to read the JainZar novel, so
the JainZar novel is incredible. Like it was so good. And but if you're into the more like Imperial side of things, I personally super duper loved the Vulcan Primarch novel from Black Library. I can't remember who wrote it, but like the Vulcan novel was the first Primarch novel that I read, and I was like sobbing at the end of it. It was really good. Very well
I
done.
haven't planned to tackle Primarchs directly yet, but I've got a bit of a passion for the salamanders, so I might have to read it.
I think everyone does to a degree.
Salamanders are lovable. My friend Beanie, I helped him spend like 300 quid on salamanders the other day. So, yeah.
Oh, that was nice of you.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Runaway Train, last question. Is it possible to hear the name Cadia and not burst into tears?
Yes.
Depends on who you ask.
You definitely missed this part of the stream earlier.
You definitely missed this bit.
It is impossible for me to say the name Cadia without chuckling, because parry this, you casual Blackstone Fortress. Oh man, I loved watching Cadia crack open. And like like Tau, Dark Eldar, Demons, or Battle Sisters, I still feed off the tears of Imperial Guard fans as they say the planet fell before the Guard did. Just go with the planet's what mattered. The Imperium would sacrifice 1 trillion guardsmen to have kept that world. So suck it.
And without even thinking about it, I mean, it's 1,000 songs a day for the Emperor, and that's just his supper.
It's just what do you want, Cadia or the Guardsman? Cadia, please. Too bad you get the Guardsman. So.
And a nice little like warp tear that just rips across the entire galaxy. It's everything's fine. I remember
it's a highlight.
Like I had mentioned earlier in the stream that like the first books that I ever read were The Gathering Storm, and that's where like the fall of Cadia happens. And I remember because I was so new, I had no idea what was happening. So my husband and I were reading it together, and so he would kind of explain like, oh, like this is who this character is. Here's why this planet or these people are important to the story. And so it would give me a little more context. And then,
is he available for other people? Because that would be really helpful if I could just read it and go. I understood that. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, you guys can like DM me on Instagram, and I'll just like ask him. Like, he's not a camera person, but like I could ask him, and then I'll text you.
You could do audio narration. It'd be like the director's cut. It'd be great. Just
We actually had thought about like him joining on my videos, but he's wearing like something that looks like a servo skull, like face covering type of deal.
Just lend us your husband.
Yeah.
But like you just to simplify it, I love the idea of you like you've watched Star Wars, yeah?
Oh, I love Star Wars.
Yeah, so what you did with Warhammer is like if you were like, I think I'll watch Star Wars. Where shall I start? And then your husband's like, well, I'm watching Revenge of the Sith if you want to start here.
Yeah.
You know,
That's basically what
so
happened.
that's
Yeah.
and then Order 66 happens and he's Darth Vader. It's like that's basically what you did with coming in at the end of
Yeah.
7th edition. Oh my god, it's gone.
It's like, huh.
This is Cadia, bastion of
Too
the
bad.
Eye of Terror, and holding the Cadian Gate for 10th. Oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
It
beautiful.
would ruin it for you.
Mm.
Yeah, so I've got a backlog of books coming, but now I've got to apparently create a new wish list altogether.
Same.
And I'm just wondering who I could sell my unborn first child to so I could get into the Horus Heresy, because it sounds like I can't afford a second mortgage, but 50 plus books.
Do you guys reckon I could get a lot? You know what? Those of you in the chat as well, let us know. Could I get enough traction to do like a read along Horus Heresy live stream series?
Oh, I've been wanting to do that
will
for my
run that.
TikTok lives. I've been wanting to do that on like TikTok live, where it's like just me reading the book out loud, and then like people can just join on. I'm gonna start doing that pretty soon, actually, on my TikTok.
Saoirse, I will make that happen if you want to do that. That would be epic.
I mean,
Louis coming in with the hot takes.
Cadia was weak. You're right, Louis.
Cadia
Thank you.
Weak, yeah.
Cadia had to go. The Cicatrix Maledictum.
Say it though. You didn't have to say it.
Saoirse, we need to get you in a nice high back leather chair near a fire, with a smoking jacket and a pipe. Settle down for the story. I will make that happen. Whatever is required to get that on the internet.
We could absolutely make. Yeah, we could absolutely try to make that work. Mr. Runaway Train, I do want to apologize if I did upset you with my Cadian sentiments. They're not going to change. I'm unrepentant on it, but I understand you may not have been expecting that.
There's
you're a
no
Xenos player through and through. It's understandable for Saoirse.
When I'm not Xenos, I'm a traitor. When I'm not a traitor, I'm Sisters of Battle. Weirdly enough,
right? Because they're like the most zealous of.
Ironically,
you're all in. You're all in, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I'll dip into my first.
I love it. I'm alright. I'm not from Cadia.
Oh man,
that guy, he cracks me up. Or no, it's
I do recommend you go and check out his Twitch channel.
I just might.
It certainly gave me plenty of airtime and plugged the channel, so I appreciate it. It's great when a fan comes on, and obviously it's the best kind of I can't think what the word is. Compliment. That's the word.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we've cruised over the hour. I'm running out of questions, but Saoirse, I bet I could get you going longer.
I could go for days.
You probably could.
Are we keeping going, or are we gonna rein this in?
I think we need to talk about getting Saoirse story time, or whatever we want to call it. Make that a thing, obviously with a far darker name than that. I think that would be absolutely epic. Louis, we're gonna have to have a chat about how we can get this on everything, and get this to happen, because I think
I would probably, if I was going to do it, I would probably actually start with Mechanicum, which is the first Horus Heresy book that deals with the Mechanicum and actually deals with treachery on Mars. Because if I started This as a Battle because I love the models and the rules are cool, but Mechanicum through and through, Mars Eternum, which is from Call of Duty, but it works. Just like it's the main reason in terms of the Horus Heresy. I'm a traitor enthusiast because the Emperor did Mars dirty. So praise the Omnissiah. I absolutely love my mech boys, and especially in the Horus Heresy. Like Admech and Skitarii are cool and all, but they do not match up to the absolute raw power of the pre-Heresy Mechanicum. So.
Sounds like I'll have to add that book to my list.
You absolutely will. It's beautiful. It is a beauty. But I mean, like Black Library is it's got to be a global international treasure at this point. Like, it's such a wellspring of such rich lore and writing, and it's such a.
And more than that, there's comics and artwork, graphic novels, audio books.
I got the first graphic novel that they did, which was the why can't I remember the name now? It's a Horus Heresy one, and it's set just after Calf. It follows on directly from the end of No Fear, the Horus Heresy graphic novel. But I mean, like it's just such a center for the community, you know, and for the huge, colossal Warhammer community that we have. I genuinely like, you know, like Runaway Train said, there's too many books to read, so just read them, and then don't read the ones your friends are reading, and just tell each other about them and absorb the knowledge. Because at the end of the day, the lore is just sweet.
A Black Library book club.
Why is that not well, COVID? But I was going to say, why is that not a thing? It's COVID.
Yeah.
We could do it on this. Yeah.
Runaway Train, we are not getting into that. Runaway Train is getting controversial. We're not starting that.
Yeah,
no,
I
we're
will
not.
say though, like I will do like a shameless plug right here though for my TikTok. I am planning to do like lives where I just do like a live reaction of me like reading Horus Heresy novels, where it'll just be like, because I've never read the books before, so I'll just be like reading them out loud, and then like as my reactions come, so that'll be fun. So check out my TikTok, I guess.
Please do plug.
I would almost get TikTok just to watch you sob.
Oh, I'm this close.
Over Galaxy in Flames.
I had to say to Emma, my wife, is it weird if I get TikTok just because I want to see what Mills puts on there? And to be fair, I don't know if I ever got an answer to it, but it's just a little bit like, I don't use TikTok. I would never use TikTok.
Neither would I.
You see clips from TikTok. Yeah, that's a good point actually. So maybe I should be doing it instead of asking a stupid question, because I do see your TikToks. They get fed through to Instagram on some reels or whatever, and so I'm just gonna have to shut up and download the bloody app. I work in IT; it shouldn't be that hard.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, thank you both so much. It's been great seeing you again after what felt like an eternity since 5 weeks. Christmas.
January lasted forever.
Well, it's just been everything seems to be lasting forever.
It's been,
my bad. I don't want to leave it too long for next time. But thank you for giving up the evening, especially since all three of us have got slots tomorrow. But it sounds like you two have got the late slots. Some of us have got to get up on a Sunday morning. Not too early, though. So again, for everybody, please check out the Nameless Guild on Instagram. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. The three of us will be on there at different slots, but there's so many other guests. It's all for fun and charity, so it'd be great to join us. And thank you, so many people, even you, Mr. Runaway Train, and all your incessant questions. Thank you so much for joining us.
I love them. Yeah,
you ask really, really provocative questions.
He does, but they're great questions.
The Magnus one is great, but I could go on about that forever. So
yeah, and it is Saturday night for two of us at least.
I have work in the morning, so
you have work in the morning, and Saoirse, thank you so much. So we'll say goodbye now. And come see us all again tomorrow. I hope you do. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you so much.